Hello, time travelers. Say time travelers because you're watching a video that was recorded many moons ago. Um, I am Mr. Ashenbrenner. I'm the course owner for 101, and the face you'll see if you're watching some of these workbook walkthrough videos. And I just want to say a quick introduction, myself and the philosophy and approach here about me. Been at NLU since 2024. Um, of NLU. I think the mission here is really important and good, and I'm just really enthusiastic about teaching and helping students achieve their goals. The workbooks are the weekly assignments that kind of form the backbone of the course in many ways. We're a project-based institution, and so the assessments are not tests, they're projects, and the projects all have a very strong Excel component. The word workbook is a kind of acknowledgement that this thing that I'm sharing with you here consists of many different sheets. So a book has many pages, a workbook in Excel has many sheets. And by the way, Google Sheets basically operates in the same way, but we provide you access to the Microsoft Office suite of tools. And so the default talk here is about Excel. So in this particular one, I'm looking at the M5 workbook. In this particular one, the the workbook has 4 sheets. And so as you're going through, you'll do work in each of the 4 sheets. And you're submitting this assignment every week. And if you're in class, probably you'll be able to finish this in class. It really depends on how your instructor uses time. And I may be your instructor, I may not be your instructor, probably not, given that we have a lot of one-on-one sections and I'm just one person. Um, but it's important to know that the way that I approach the workbook walkthroughs is to kind of do some of the work and then leave some of it to you to do, because if you're just watching me do the work, that's not as valuable as you actually flexing your muscles and trying things out. Remember that if you're doing it on your own, if you're doing it asynchronously, that there is support. So don't feel like you have to, engage in a long, productive or unproductive struggle. That's really one of the things that you want to think about as a student is, when does my struggle move from being productive to unproductive? Because struggle is good. That is a sign of growth, and working hard and being challenged and all of those things are really important for you educationally and personally. But there's a point at which you're struggling and it's not producing anything, and then you want to think about, well, where am I getting the help from? So these videos are one of those things where you're not supposed to just try this from scratch and just know what to do. You're supposed to have some support. There is a direction sheet. It is important to acknowledge that there is an accompanying file in every workbook that has some directions. And one of the things that we've tried to do is kind of ease you into Excel by having the first 2 assignments have most of the material in the Excel file. But as we get into module 3 and beyond, you're seeing something more like this, where you've got some notes and definitions, and you've got the directions for the work and the tasks that you're supposed to do. So this is an accompaniment to the workbook where you're actually doing the work. And this file is what you submit, not the Word document. And the last thing I'll say is that one of the reasons why Excel is such a big part of the course is because it has a lot of really great tools that kind of keep step with like what technology is able to do for us. I think you should be able to find the mean by hand of something if you want, but if you have 1,000 data points, you're not going to do that by hand. It would take a lot of time and would have a lot of error involved. Another piece about Excel, though, is about the process. So if I want to add multiple things, I can show the process of how I do that in the cell where I'm getting the answer. And that's a big part of what this is about. So just a simple example, if I have the numbers 3, 4, and 98, and I want to add these all together, I could type 3 plus 4 plus 98 and get the answer, but I can also use cell references, 3 plus 4 plus 98. And I can also use the sum formula and just say, I want you to add those 3 numbers up. and I get the same answer. So notice that the answer is the same in all of these, but the process is different. So when I double click as the instructor, I can see how you're thinking about it, how you're approaching it. And there are better and worse ways to do that. The bottom two, I think, are better in the sense that they're connected to other cells. And then if we change, like we realize, oh, this wasn't supposed to be 3 and 4, this was supposed to be 73 and 84. These two numbers have changed, but this number hasn't. So that's what I call the sort of hard coding, where you're typing in the numbers unnecessarily because they're already in the sheet. And then what happens if those numbers are typed in wrong and we need to make changes? We don't want to have to go back and change the formula as well. That's the point of using something like cell reference. So anyways, there's a lot to say about that. Your instructor will have opinions. As you watch the workbook walkthroughs, you'll hear more about what kind of formulas to use, when to use them. And that's a big part of the growth. And I guess I said already the last thing, but this is really the last thing. Excel has a lot of value. Any spreadsheet has a lot of value in life. It's how I do budgeting, how I record expenses, how I start doing my taxes at the end of the year. So it's really a useful tool for you to gain experience with. And a lot of students come in with no experience and they leave feeling pretty confident about what they can do with Excel. And I think that's a really valuable asset. So, all right, hope that helps. And maybe I'll see you around.